land right now! I mean it!
You need to back away. This is your final warning.
Pave it in 90 days, or lose your property. That's what the HOA president told me while standing at the entrance to my land like she owned it. She called it an eyesore, a liability, a rotten wooden mess that didn't fit the neighborhood. What she didn't understand was this wasn't some broken driveway. It was a 140-year-old covered bridge my great-great-grandfather built by hand, and it was protected as a National Historic Landmark. And before this was over, her little power trip would destroy her whole empire. If you love stories where bullies pick the wrong person, hit subscribe right now, because this one keeps getting crazier. The bridge over Harmony Creek wasn't just wood and nails to me, it was my family's history. My father showed me the hand-cut beams when I was a kid. My grandfather crossed it in uniform before leaving for war. And when my dad died, I drove over that bridge one last time to take care of the land he left behind. So when that HOA president stood on my property and told me to bury that history under black asphalt, for the sake of community aesthetics, something in me went cold. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten her. I just looked at the violation notice, folded it, and told her she had made a serious mistake. She laughed. She said bylaws mattered more than some old plaque. That's when I knew this wasn't about safety. It wasn't about rules. It was about control. And I've dealt with controlling people before. Quick question, where are you watching from? And do neighborhoods near you have crazy HOA-style rules too? Drop your city in the comments. I want to know how wild this gets across the country. That night, I pulled out my father's records, old deeds, historic registration forms, engineering reports, letters from the Department of the Interior, everything, page after page, proving that bridge wasn't just old, it mattered. I sent the HOA professional response with copies of every document. I explained that forcing alterations to a registered historic structure could trigger serious legal consequences. I gave them an easy exit. They didn't take it. A week later, I got a second notice. Same violation, same threats, now with a $500 fine attached. That was the moment the fight changed, because when someone looks at federal documentation and calls it irrelevant, they're not confused, they're arrogant. So I stopped treating it like a misunderstanding and started treating it like a campaign. I contacted the State Historic Preservation Office. The man I spoke to was stunned. He kept repeating, they want to pave a registered historic covered bridge. By the end of that call, the state was preparing an official warning to the HOA. At the same time, I documented everything, every letter, every fine, every visit, every photo, every threat. I created a paper trail so clean they'd never be able to rewrite the story later. But instead of backing off, the HOA president escalated. Suddenly county inspectors started showing up because of anonymous complaints. One day it was code enforcement claiming the bridge was unsafe, then environmental officials, then fire concerns. Every complaint was false, every inspection cleared me. Still, the message was obvious. She wanted me exhausted. She wanted me isolated. She wanted me to surrender. If you've ever dealt with a bully hiding behind paperwork, comment, stand your ground. I swear people like this only stop when someone finally pushes back. But here's what she didn't know. Other homeowners were watching. One neighbor quietly told me she fined him because his garden hose wasn't coiled in a visually pleasing manner. Another family had to repaint their front door 3 times to match an approved shade of beige. A widow got cited over a bird feeder. This woman wasn't protecting the neighborhood. She was ruling it out. So I hired a property rights attorney, and together we changed strategy. We sent a cease and desist letter that named her directly. Then we requested access to the HOA's financial records. That's when the panic started. She refused to release them at first. Huge mistake, because the more she resisted, the more suspicious the neighborhood became. Soon homeowners started talking, then comparing notes, then organizing. And once the local paper heard the story that an HOA president was trying to force a veteran homeowner to pave over a historic bridge, everything blew up. News crews showed up. Preservation groups called. Veterans groups reached out. Support started pouring in. The woman who tried to make me the problem had accidentally made herself the villain. Let me ask you this, what's the most ridiculous rule you've ever heard in a neighborhood, apartment complex, or community? Post Put it in the comments because some of these stories honestly sound fake until you live through them. Then came the meeting. Packed clubhouse. Angry residents. Her at the front, still acting like she was in charge. She started with the usual speech about standards, appearances, and rule enforcement. Then I stood up. And I told the room this was no longer about the bridge. It was about the MONEY. A retired accountant from the neighborhood had reviewed the records, and what he found dropped the room into silence. Thousands of dollars in HOA funds had been spent on personal dinners, salon visits, inflated landscaping invoices, and payments to connected businesses. She hadn't just been abusing power, she'd been stealing. The room erupted. People who had spent years obeying her, fearing her, paying fines to her, now had proof that while they were struggling, she was funding her own lifestyle with their dues. Within minutes, the community voted her out. Right there, in public, no escape. You already know what happened next, don't you? She snapped. The very next morning, she showed up at my bridge with a bulldozer, trying to have it demolished before the dust from the meeting had even settled. She told the operator it was condemned. She claimed she still had authority, but neighbors saw it. Police were called. And when deputies arrived, the truth came out fast. False claims, trespassing, attempted destruction of private property. She was arrested in front of the same bridge he tried to erase. And the bridge, it never moved. Months later, the HOA board formally apologized, permanently exempted the bridge from all surface requirements, and recognized it as a historic asset to the community. The full audit found even more stolen money than we first thought. Criminal charges followed, civil lawsuits followed. Her power was gone for good, and the neighborhood changed. People stopped living in fear. Rules became reasonable. Meetings became transparent. Kids played outside again. Neighbors actually talked to each other. That old bridge didn't just connect two sides of a creek. It reminded an entire community that not everything valuable should be paved over to make insecure people comfortable. If you stayed till the end, subscribe for more real stories like this and tell me in the comments, do you think she truly believed she'd win, or was it always just a power addiction waiting to explode? Because in the end, she didn't destroy the bridge. The bridge exposed her.